Hello the internet, Andy here with a brand new series for What Culture Wrestling, things you may have missed from last night's WWE Raw. I'll be taking a journey through WWE's flagship show every single week, pointing out any Easter eggs, snafus, hidden gems, and other wee nuggets you may not have picked on throughout this 3-hour beast of a show. We kick things off with a typically inconsistent show from Albany, New York, highlighted by a wonderful main event between Finn Balor and Braun Strowman, but low-lighted by that god-awful Bobby Lashley sister segment. I mean, Jesus Christ, what the hell were they thinking? On top of all that, we had Stephanie McMahon's return to television, another Money in the Bank qualifier, and surprise, surprise, another good Seth Rollins TV match. Now that we've glossed over all the major happenings, let's dive into the smaller, weirder developments that may have passed under your radar, and we'll start with the sisters. In 2016, we got the old day. In 2017, it was Bayley, This Is Your Life. And in 2018, it was Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, and Bobby's supposed sisters. Frankly, this might have been the worst of the lot, and you were probably too busy cringing at the god-awful writing to notice some of the smaller, dumber details in this car crash of a segment. Early on, when Sami Zayn was introducing the sisters, you could hear the commentators trying really hard and not quite succeeding to stifle their laughter, and it didn't sound scripted at all. It was as if they, like us, were having trouble believing what the hell was unfolding before their eyes, and they just couldn't hold it in. The fact that WWE cut it out of the YouTube clip shows that it was a balls up and that we weren't supposed to hear it. But if you tuned into the live broadcast, you've been treated to the sound of Mikey Cole and his buddies tittering away. During his beatdown of the sisters, Lashley inexplicably took a helmet, popped it on one of their heads, and then skadooshed him all the way through it, prompting the announcers to yelp out a coordinated ouch. What the hell is wrong with these goobers, man? Honestly. Cast your mind back to the SmackDown before WrestleMania. On that night, Sami Zayn appeared on screen in an Against Me t-shirt. Now, for those who don't know, they're a punk rock band fronted by a transgender woman, Laura Jane Grace, which cemented him as an ally. A few months later, and what did WWE do? Pop him in the ring and have him make fun of 3 men in dresses, all to pop Vince McMahon in the back. Problematic. Our final point on the sister segment comes to the Albany crowd. Now, I've seen a lot of criticism for the audience last night, and they were a bit flat. They'd be wrong to say that they were that way all the way through the show. They certainly weren't. If you go back and rewatch all the stuff that happened before the sister segment, including Kurt Angle's in-ring segment and the 2 matches, the crowd were pretty good. I mean, it wasn't UK or Chicago levels of noise, but they were not bad. They were getting involved. They were making their voices known. Until that segment happened. Afterwards, it was like a library. A couple of things later in the show got pops, but they were muted for a long time. And that just shows the catastrophic effect that one single disastrous segment can have on an entire show. Okay, let's shift from the bad to the good, and Seth Rollins starring in that tag match with Roman Reigns against Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens. It was Rollins, not Reigns, who scored the decisive pinfall in that match, and afterwards, all the commentators did was put him over. Their chat was all about Red Hot Rollins, who they say is now operating at an all-time level, and not Reigns, who's supposed to be the guy. Now, with rumours that WWE plan on booking Seth in a Universal title match against Brock Lesnar at some point down the line, perhaps this was the start of it. Maybe they're sowing seeds, and by positioning above Reigns in this match, it could be the first sign. Keep an eye on this one, folks. Now, one great bunch of lads you definitely won't have seen on this week's Raw were the Authors of Pain, who were absent again for the 3rd week in a row. Pay attention to this absence because it's becoming notable. WWE have decided that the B team, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, are more worthy of a push than the former NXT Tag Champions. It's incredibly weird given how thin Raw's division is at the moment, and it's almost as if Vince McMahon has forgotten they even exist. So, no way Jose's conga line. This thing is going to be a cracking wee source of Easter eggs every single week, much like Adam Rose and his Rosebuds were back in the day. And a week after booking UK talent Jack Sexsmith when they were in London, WWE had independent wrestler Ali Rex leading the charge this week. Good on her for making the show. So while the Albany crowd certainly wasn't the loudest last night, their sign game was A1. In the front row, if you're paying attention, you may have noticed a Principal Skinner Braun Strowman themed sign with the words "Get these hams." Not a bad wee joke, but it would have been a little bit better if the wee man Adam Cleary hadn't already gotten that joke over on this channel several months ago. That wasn't the only banger though. How about, oh, You Walk With Elias? Name 3 of his albums. Shout outs to all the hipsters who were there for the Drifter during his Pure Volume days. And you know, there was also an Enzo Amore sign on screen during the opening segment, but let's not talk about that guy. Alexa Bliss gave the impression of a smart cookie last night as she referred back to a historical battle between the Visigoths and the Roman Empire in 410 AD, citing the Visigoths using the element of surprise as a means of overthrowing the Romans and comparing that to her loss to Ember Moon a few weeks ago. Now, she may have came off quite smart if this story was correct, but unfortunately, she was wrong. Like any history nerd will tell you, the Visigoth army actually outnumbered the Romans by 40,000 to 1,000. On top of this, there was no element of surprise whatsoever. The barbarian empire had already invaded Rome 15 years prior and attempted to take the city twice before. Alexa, don't try to out-nerd a nerd because you'll only look like a goof in the process. And as we all know, a goof is much worse than a nerd. What the f*** am I talking about? Now, when it comes to the big Ronda Rousey-Nia Jax contract signing segment, many people are caught up in Stephanie McMahon's overbearing performance. But the segment's complete lack of logic seems to have gone under the radar. Steph was stirring the shit, playing Puppet Master and trying to manipulate the woman with some shocking revelation. And the grand bombshell in the end that got them all riled up was that Nia Jax wants to win the match. Good. I mean, I'm glad Nia doesn't want to lose, but this segment would have gone over a lot better if the revelation was, you know, an actual revelation. As it stands, it just made the woman look incredibly petty, with Steph the only one coming out looking strong once again. So, Jinder Mahal versus Roman Reigns. I think it's pretty safe to say that none of us are particularly fired up about this feud. I mean, to be honest, I kinda like both guys, but who the hell are we supposed to cheer for? WWE tried to pile sympathy on Roman early in the show by having Jinder hit him across the back with a steel chair, but unfortunately it was one of the softest shots you'll ever see. I mean, seriously, Jinder may as well have hit him with a big bag of marshmallows. It's kinda weird because recent weeks have seen Jinder hit Reigns with some shots that were way too stiff. Maybe he's overcompensating, or maybe someone's had a word with him. Calm down, you tit. Can't be injuring the golden boy. And finally, let's wrap things up with the main event. Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman is something that WWE have been teasing for a while now, and there were a couple of new hints in their matchup, the most notable of which came when Braun mocked Finn's smile halfway through the match. It was only a minor spot, but at one point the monster reached down, grabbed the Irishman's hair, pulled him up, and said, "Look at his smile, isn't it pretty?" That was a terrible impression, but you get the gist. Now granted, Braun did spare Balor his usual post-match beatdown, but for the most part, his were not the actions of an ally. I don't quite know what WWE are brewing here, but they're clearly establishing an interesting relationship between the two. Maybe it'll head towards a big feud. If it does, on the quality of this match, it'll probably be fantastic. So maybe that's something to look forward to. So that's our weird, wacky, and oh so nitpicky trip through last night's Raw. But I want to know if you guys picked up on any other small details, so let us know down in the comments section below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, why not head over to whatculture.com and check out the article by Jamie Kennedy that this series is based on. But for now, I've been Andy for What Culture Wrestling, and I'll see you later.
So that was our video. Thank you for watching. Please do feel free to click on anything happening around my head, or something terrible might happen to this dog. Is that you too sweeting me, bro? Ugh. Disgusting. That's really bad.